Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to contribute to this motion, recognising the people of the Baha'i faith and acknowledging their contributions to our society. Thank you to all members who have spoken on this motion, and I'd also like to recognise the people of Baha'i faith present in the gallery today. I'd also like to congratulate the Baha'i followers on the upcoming historic bicentenary of the birth of the founder, the Bab, next month. The Baha'i faith is one of peace and inclusion. It recognises the value and worth of all religions. It sees the inherent unity of all people, and it actively rejects the damaging scourge of racism, prejudice and discrimination. At a time when we are seeing communities and countries across the globe splinter and fragment through hatred and division, it is clear that there is much to take from this belief system. The people in the Baha'i faith come from all walks of life and represent many sectors in our community. In my electorate of Newcastle, I am fortunate to have a deeply committed local Baha'i community. It is a vibrant and welcoming group of wonderful people. I'd particularly like to acknowledge Tom Jones, the volunteer Baha'i chaplain at the University of Newcastle, who has long led the Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is in Newcastle. Tom has been an incredible advocate for his local community, but also for the plight of Baha'i followers facing prejudice and persecution overseas. I am glad that Australia is a place where all people can practice their faith freely. Regretfully, this isn't the case everywhere. While Australia is currently focused on ensuring that people of all faiths are able to practice their beliefs in Australia without discrimination, it is timely for this House to recall that there are still many places in the world where people are imprisoned for their beliefs. Indeed, the Baha'i people are subjected to appalling persecution in a number of countries. Last time I rose to speak about Baha'i in this place, I reflected on the appalling treatment of Iran's 300,000 Baha'i followers. I spoke to the fact that the Iranian Baha'is are being restricted and repressed in all areas of their life. Hundreds have been detained or even arrested for their faith. This includes every single one of the 7 leaders of the National Baha'i Leadership Group who have been imprisoned on bogus, vague and confected charges like disturbing national security or spreading propaganda against the regime. Many ordinary citizens have found themselves excluded from education and business, denied government support that should be their right as citizens, or had their property seized. Others have found themselves subjected to brutal beatings or torture, and virtually all have experienced some form of denial of their basic civil liberties, just because of the faith they follow. Since I last spoke, there have been some more concerning developments, but also some glimmers of hope. According to the reports, in 2018 alone, authorities arbitrarily detained almost 100 members of the Baha'i faith. In November last year, the United Nations General Assembly called on Iran to put an end to these ongoing human rights violations. However, in January this year, a provincial court of appeal acquitted a Baha'i citizen who had been sentenced to 7 months in prison for propaganda against the state, finding that proselytising for a faith can't be seen as propaganda against the state. Since then, there have been a few reports of courts acquitting Baha'i people who have been sentenced to prison on similar charges. Some have said these may be the first cases of Iranian courts finding that proselytising for the Baha'i faith is not a crime. This is a move in the right direction, which will hopefully set a positive precedent for the future. But we mustn't become complacent. Australia must continue to robustly defend the rights of the Baha'i who face diabolical persecution across the world. We, as part of an international community, can't sit back and let this happen unchallenged. We cannot be silent. It is important that Australia keeps raising this issue through international forums and whatever influence we have to end this terrible inhumanity and uphold well-established international human rights protections.